Hi, and welcome to Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook, where real talk meets real life in the world of mental health. We're your hosts, Abby and Bethany, two therapists who have been through the textbooks and are entering the trenches. This is a space where we unpack what they didn't teach you in grad school, the messy, the meaningful, and the moments that shape us as professionals and people. So grab a seat on the couch and let's dive in. Please note that the content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of a qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding your mental health or medical condition. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of any organizations or professionals they may be affiliated with. If you are in crisis, or if you think you may have a mental health emergency, please call 911 or contact a local mental health crisis line or emergency service in your area.
Hi, everybody. We are back. Welcome back to Couch Conversations
Beyond the textbook.
Yes. We're happy you are tuning in. And I think today we're going to talk a little bit about building your caseload and what that looks like and some of the frustrations and what the expectations are when you start and then what it looks like when you're actually doing it.
Yes, so building a caseload when you're working, especially in private practice.
Yes.
This is when, you don't start with let's say you have, 20 hours open. You don't start with 20 clients right off the get-go. So you're working to hopefully get to the 20 clients, but it doesn't start off that way right away. So, yeah. Do you want to start with your thoughts?
I think when you're in, and I'm going to only speak from my own experiences and thoughts, but when I was in grad school, I didn't even consider what it would be like on a caseload. And so when we were going into internship and practicum, I think I had a little bit of an unrealistic expectation. And I think a lot of that is due to I was working at Grace. And so our supervisor, Grace, was starting to build our caseload weeks before we started.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in with at least somewhat of a caseload.
Yeah.
So when I started the private practice, it was a little bit of a shock how long it took me to build a caseload.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely takes time. And so I had a different experience during internship. It felt like it took forever.
Mhm.
Well, especially as an intern, because a lot of people have insurance. So then you're not able to take insurance as an intern. So then it takes even longer to build a caseload because you're looking for kind of the niche clients that maybe they're, I don't know, out of pocket or whatever is even with insurance is more expensive. All of that mumbo jumbo. But I felt like during my internship, it took longer to build a caseload, which led to a lot of stress, feeling like I'm scrambling for hours. I ended up having to add a second site for my internship. But, so even during internship, I got a little taste of that.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to get a certain amount of hours, that can be really stressful too.
Yeah. And that was a big difference is at the college, insurance wasn't a thing. It didn't matter. So we didn't take insurance at all. So it was much easier to gain a caseload. And I'm also learning that not very many private practices take Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Ours does, which has really been beneficial for me seeing kids. I see a lot from the foster and adoption world. So there's a lot of Medicaid that I get, which has really been beneficial for me as far as building my caseload. But and that wasn't much different. You had more of the private practice experience with your internship than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The private practice that I worked at before this one also took Medicaid, but it is rare, which is kind of surprising. And we won't get into all the insurance side of things. I couldn't even tell you about the insurance side of things.
I don't know anything about it.
That is one perk of working at a private practice that has an administrative team.
Yeah.
Highly suggest. Unless you're more business insurance minded, then do your thing. But I just am not. So, anyway, even after I graduated, it was a little tricky because I obviously knew I was pregnant. So then I was going on maternity leave.
Right.
And so they didn't, fill my caseload knowing that I was going to be leaving. They tried to give me, I think I only worked for 2 months, maybe just over. So they gave me a few clients, but then obviously didn't want to overwhelm me and then have me be gone for, 12 weeks
Right.
or whatever. So,
Another thing that I found very tricky as far as caseload, now that I've been working for 4 months and I have a pretty full caseload, is the ethics of letting your clients go, which is, you learn about it in grad school and you're like, why would that be an issue? And when you are in private practice and every session matters as far as like towards your paycheck.
Yeah.
Like letting those clients go is letting your paycheck go.
That's so true.
And so I can now see, like I'm at the point now with some of my kiddos where we're dropping back and we're doing some maintenance. And I could see why that would be an ethical concern at this point, because generally, and I don't know that, at the college, we saw each of our clients for 8 weeks?
Yeah.
That's how many sessions they got. So this was never an issue for me. This is all brand new to me. So I'm learning all this stuff and I'm like, 8 weeks is actually a pretty legit time for a lot of sessions to be ready to kind of start moving back. And it's just interesting.
It is interesting. And I think that once you get to private practice, like you said, and you're looking at, like, it's hard because as a therapist, it's hard to even talk about money because you're like, it's not all about that, because we do care about our clients.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, we do deserve to be compensated for the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely, like you were saying, see why that gets hard, because you're like, oh, that's money I'm not going to get on my paycheck anymore. And then you're like, okay, can you get me a new intake? Like, I need a new client to fill this spot.
Yes.
Yeah, so that gets tricky. It's like, obviously we're more excited to see the progress in our clients.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
But it does get tricky to manage that caseload so that you're making a consistent amount.
Right.
And that's the thing with, private practices, it's not going to be always consistent. Like, it's going to differ here or there. There's, really busy seasons and there's slower seasons. I've noticed that, the winter time is like crazy, lots busier. Of wait lists at practices. Yeah. And then you get to summer and everyone's like, I'm happy now because the sun's out and it's warm. And
it's very true. I'm interested to see how that works working with kids, and if summer break really has, if I have hit a lull over summer break.
Yeah.
But so the whole caseload, and all the nuances with it is something that I wish we had heard more about before starting.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think that it was really talked about in grad school, managing a caseload, what that looks like, how to balance that in your like real life kind of. Because obviously after each session you're taking notes, especially when you're first getting clients. You have all the intakes, so then you have intake notes, you're making treatment plans, and that just it's a lot of upfront work, I would say.
Yeah.
So
and something that is talked about a lot in school was being a note taker or not being a note taker.
Yes.
Like generally you either love your notes or you hate the paperwork. And so I'm a hate paperwork person.
Yes.
But I'm curious, how do you, when it's time to do your notes, how do you go about doing that?
I do my notes. I've always done my notes in between sessions. Okay. So you have, 53 minutes or whatever with a client. That's the billable hour, insurance wise. So 53 minutes. So then you have 7 minutes in between if you have like back-to-back clients. I was actually explaining this to my family the other day. So my dad was like, when do you go to the bathroom? I'm like, you don't actually. Because my problem is that I cannot, like, I couldn't wait to the end of the day to do all my notes. Yeah. First of all, I don't want to take work home. I'm pretty strong about that. I mean, sometimes, if it's super busy, but I do not like to take my work home. So I believe in like a good work-life balance. And so I try to do all of my, progress notes and things like that right after the client, leaves the office. Yeah. And that tends to work out. Obviously there's, nuances with that. If it's, a sticky situation, then I need to talk to a supervisor about, whatever it might be. I also am just forgetful. Like I would not remember I would not be able to write a good note if I was waiting until, after a few sessions to write all the notes, because I would just forget kind of, or forget the important things probably.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me into like, when you have a full caseload and you're seeing, I mean, depending on whether you're 20 hours, 40 hours, but you're seeing I think I'm at about 28 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the summaries of your sessions straight from client to
Yes.
client can be very tricky.
Yeah.
I personally am not a note taker in session. Are you?
No, I've never written notes in session.
So is that difficult for you?
No, I just never have. I don't know, like, I think that it's almost harder for me to focus on what they're saying if I'm, like, trying to, like, I'll miss some of what they're saying if I'm trying to write notes in between. That's another thing I talked with my family about. Or someone was like, oh, is it like the stereotypical, like, therapy that you see in movies or whatever, where they're, like, analyzing, writing notes? Like, no, I actually don't take notes during my sessions. That's another reason why it's so important for me to write the note right after the session.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. I'm immediately after the session. I tend to be an out of sight, out of mind person. So the minute that I shut that computer, I don't think about it again. And so by the time I open my computer and I go to my to-do list and I have notes there, I get a panicky feeling. And I will say, with the exception of my very last client of the day, if I have something I have to rush to, I will wait till the next day. But generally for me, it's pretty important that I do that in between.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that now with all the technology, like all the electronic health record systems and what we use, it makes it fairly easy, but it can be, time consuming still.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you feel the need to read the past like progress notes before you see that client? So like, you read the note that you left last week. For the client coming in.
So, and that's a really good question. That is something that, again, we don't really talk about in grad school. And when I'm first getting my caseload, absolutely. Because I can't remember, I cannot put a face to the name, or the name will look brand new the second week. And so I'll be like, oh, did I already meet with this client? So yes, absolutely. Now after I've had my client for a while and like I can look at the name and remember, a lot of times I can remember what we talked about. So I don't always after a few weeks, but I would say on average, probably 60% of the time I'm looking at the note just to freshen the memory of what we talked about. Because it is important to go back to that last session and check up on what we talked about and let them know that, personalize that session for your client.
For sure. Especially when you have a bigger caseload to then just have that refresher right before, or even starting a session like this is where we ended last week. Is that where you'd like to start this week? Or get kind of leaving it up to the client, but just letting them know that like you remember, you understand what they were talking about, things like that, I think can be helpful. I'm the same way. I look before most of my clients, unless it's someone that, we're like really into the working stage of counseling and I'm more just, I know what we're gonna, where we're going with the session, but definitely at the beginning, I'm like, okay, let me relook at the intake note that I left or the, first few progress notes after those first few sessions. Definitely need a refresher. My brain doesn't work the way it used to.
Absolutely. Babies will do that too.
Speaking
of babies, we're at Bethany's house.
Yes, we are.
Because little man is taking a nap.
Taking a nap.
Look at her beautiful wedding.
It's like we made a little spot for our podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. But
so I'm also curious, does it help you with your caseload if you have your session prepared before they come in?
What do you mean by that?
So when your clients are coming in to see you, do you have like an idea in your mind of what you're going to talk about, what direction you're going to go? If you're going to use interventions or not, and like or do you kind of wing it? Like what is more beneficial for you when you have a heavy caseload?
So I definitely will look back, and if there's some interventions that I'm like, I think this could be really helpful, I'll keep them in the back of my mind. But at the same time, I don't like to be like, this is what we're doing today, because at the end of the day, it's not my session. Like maybe the client comes in and something happened in their life that past week and I had no idea. Then that's not fair to them for me to be like, oh, let's talk about that really quick, but I have other plans for us. I don't think that's, beneficial for the client. Like it might not. And that's what gets tricky, is that sometimes they come in with stuff that has nothing to do with their goals or presenting issues, but that's what happened in their life that past week. And it's important for them to talk about. And so I think that when you, as a therapist, go in, it's good to go in kind of with maybe some bare bones interventions in the back of your head, things like that. But for myself, I don't want to be so rigid and like
Mhm.
being like, we have to do, this intervention, this thing. And
Right.
I mean, honestly, at Lyrian, there's not like a ton
Right.
of interventions. Like I
Yeah.
tell my clients, I don't really do worksheets unless that's something that you want to do.
Mhm.
But that it's their session and where they want to go with it is
Yeah.
where we'll go.
Yeah.
And I think that that's not that worksheets are bad. I know you're CBT.
I actually don't do a ton of worksheets.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I think that, and obviously, I mean, Adlerian, the thought processes and how that all connects, which we haven't done any podcasts on our theoretical orientation.
No, we have
so we
not.
will have to in the future.
For
but
sure.
I would say CBT and Adlerian can work hand in hand.
Yes.
But Adlerian is just probably less like, rigid interventions at times.
Absolutely. And I have found that being CBT as I am, it's very helpful with the kids. Because it does give you a lot of structure in the session.
Yes.
And I've learned that, I get about 20 minutes with my kids of actual therapeutic time, and the rest is kind of playing and keeping their mind engaged, and then asking them lots of open-ended questions to see if there's anything else. But actual like directed therapeutic time is pretty about half of the session. But I'm very similar, whereas unless I say in the first session in the previous session while we're working, and I do this with some of my teenagers sometimes, they'll say something and it will trigger an idea for an intervention or an assessment or something in my mind. I'll say, hey, next week, why don't we do this intervention next week or something? Yeah. Other than that, I don't generally. I have an idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll have things printed off that I would like to do.
Right.
But again, it's up to the client, and lots of times, especially with these teens, they come in with something different every week. And and you can usually take what they're going through from week to week towards their goal.
For sure.
So you can direct it one way or another.
And that's another thing with kids, there is a lot more prep that goes into your sessions for sure. Like I work primarily with adults, so a lot of times they come in, they know what they want to talk about. Yeah. And that makes my job a little easier. But when I, had a few kiddos on my caseload, that does take some extra work. So with the extra work, when do you find time to prepare for these sessions with your kiddos? Because if there's like, oh, I need to print this off, but also I want to finish that note, and like that, it takes some extra time.
It does take a lot of time. So at our practice, we use Theranest, right? Yes.
Therapy notes.
Or therapy notes, sorry. Theranest was before. Yep. Therapy notes, and they have an option for, I don't know what to call it, but it's a program that summarizes your sessions for you. And so and it writes up your progress notes. So it's very helpful.
Makes it easier.
Yes. And makes my progress notes go a lot faster. So although I don't get anything extra done in that 7 minutes that I have between clients, I usually come in before client, or I'll have a decent break, which is something else that I was going to ask you about, but I'll have a decent break in my day that I will really utilize. Yesterday, I had my first 2 clients canceled their siblings, and so mom couldn't bring them in. And so that was super helpful. I got a lot of stuff done yesterday. Yeah. But I just kind of have to fit it in where I can.
Yeah. It's so interesting because when you do have a full day, when one client cancels, sometimes I remember, like, I would just be like, you know what, that's okay. Because I could use the extra hour, to get things done. Not that we want our clients to cancel, but it's just things work out the way they're supposed to. For sure.
Absolutely. But
yeah.
And I forget what it was I just said I wanted to touch on.
That's okay. First, I think scheduling wise, is that what you were
I don't remember.
going?
It'll come back to me.
Yeah. I think building because what's your schedule open for right now?
So right now I am open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Okay.
Or I guess 8:30 to 5. My earliest time is 8:30.
Okay. So you do have a full-time availability.
Yes. I just am not full yet on the caseload.
Okay. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even 28 clients is a lot.
Yes.
To see a week.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm in the 2 different locations.
Right.
So.
Okay. That is one thing that I tell people, that being a full-time therapist is very different from full-time desk job. Or really any other full-time job, I feel like. And that's not to, toot our own horn or to think that we're better than everyone else. But truly, it's like you are locked in for the amount of hours that you're working, that you have clients. Yeah. Like there is not necessarily breaks every, 15 minutes of work
No.
that you can take like a 5. No, you're locked in and you're carrying a lot of emotional weight during that time. And then you have 7 minutes in between to kind of, okay, let's get prepared for the next client. And then you're locked in again.
Yeah.
Like there's just not much. Even I was telling our babysitter, like, hey, I'm not available from like, I have this many clients. I won't have my phone. I'm not available for those times. So if there's an emergency, like call my husband.
Yeah.
And if it's really an emergency, like call me multiple times so it goes through my do not disturb. Like even just thinking through that of being, a new mom and planning that out. And I'm sure you've had the same talk with your kids. Like
it doesn't matter. They call me anyway. But yes.
That's true. You're like, hi, are you bleeding? Do you need to go to the hospital?
I just ignore them.
Yeah. That's fair.
And then they'll text me and say, are you in session?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I know. Even my mom will sometimes call me and then she'll be like, and then she'll text me when I don't answer and be like, sorry, I forgot you're working. I'm like, yes, I don't have my phone. And usually even in between sessions, there's not even enough time to get on my phone. Unless, I'll check it, did anyone text me something that needs to be responded to? But yeah.
I remember what I was going to ask. So this was asked, somebody asked me this recently. What is the sweet spot for sessions in a day? And I talked to our owners about it, and they are very different in their answers, and they schedule themselves very differently.
Okay.
What's your answer? What is your sweet spot?
So I'm actually saying this, but it's kind of hypocritical because I'm going against it.
Okay.
I would say 6 clients.
Okay.
Is like, okay, so maybe I could do 7 clients, but I could not, like 3 in a row is pushing it. 4 in a row, that's a lot.
Right.
That feels like a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely for me right now, because I have my baby, I scheduled out like pumping breaks. So I have, smaller breaks, but more frequent, which I actually think I'll kind of like. Because sometimes I'm like, I get to the end of an hour break and I'm like, okay, I was ready, 30 minutes ago.
Yes.
And so I think that once my caseload is more full, I'll actually like that. And I might even keep it after I'm done, breastfeeding or whatever. And so the way that I have it, I have like 3 clients, then a break, 3 clients, then a break, and I think that works out. I think that will be really nice.
Yeah.
Because like I said, after 3 clients, I'm like, okay, I need just a second to breathe. So I think that will be good. What about you?
Yeah. Well, and I think that is the beauty of being able to have a case, like kind of deciding what you want your caseload to look like. And I'm very similar. About 6 clients I did recently when we went on vacation. I had to move. We were gone a week, so I moved some sessions around, and I had a couple 8-hour days where it was back to back with a half an hour lunch.
Yeah.
Never. That's not me.
Yeah.
That was so hard.
It's so hard.
It's just exhausting. Like you're at the end of the day and you're like, I didn't have anything left for my family when I got home.
Right.
And so I learned that for me, it is very much I prefer like the little breaks in between, half an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Grab a snack, decompress, listen to my audiobook for a little bit, color something just to kind of fill me back up, because by the end of an 8-hour back-to-back day, I am pouring from an empty cup.
For sure.
Yes. And one of our owners, though, he prefers that because he will take a 3-day weekend. And so he values that.
Yeah.
And then, so it's just interesting how it's different for different people.
Yes, for sure. And this is funny. I don't remember if I've told you this or if I've said this on the podcast, but this just reminded me of it. I will never forget my first day of internship. I didn't have any clients. I was just observing in sessions, but I observed 8 sessions that day.
Okay.
And I remember coming home and I told Ben, I was like, I was not made to work full time. And he was like, he just laughed at me because he's like, okay, whatever. But I was just like, I could not do 8 clients in a day.
No.
Which is funny because now my Thursdays are 8 clients, but I'm only working 2 days. So I feel like I have the bandwidth to do that. Which we can talk about our own personal schedules here in a minute, but it was just kind of funny because I remember being like, and I wasn't even doing the therapy. I was just sitting there in the room, like listening and observing. And I remember being like, I am exhausted.
Yes.
That was a lot.
Yes.
And so, but everyone's different. Like some people can really do that. I felt like even for myself, I think it can get hard during those like evening clients when you're just like, oh, I know I'm here, I'm in the room, and I just am ready to be
not
home.
here, yes.
Yeah. And it's like, even it starts to, you really have to be intentional about being locked in for those last few.
Yeah.
Because it's not their fault. Like, it's your hours. So you have to make sure you're being fair to them by being completely present with them.
Yeah. I'm watching him sleep. That was creepy. Anyway.
I have my baby monitor on the table because he's napping right now. So.
He's so cute. But it's also like when you're working in private practice, the practice gets to decide what full-time is.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice. It's not 32 hours or 40 hours. It is, they, at least where we are, they do it by client. So you have a certain number of clients you are full-time.
Yep.
And I think that is nice because it does give you the opportunity to make each day look different.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, so your schedule's open for 40 hours.
It's open.
Yeah. And you have 28 clients, which I don't even know what our practice considers full time.
I think it's 32.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know because I'll probably never be there. I think I have 15 hours of availability.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I work 2 days, 15 hours of availability.
Okay.
One day's a little shorter. Yeah, and I'm just working on filling the caseload, so we'll see how it goes. But I think that will be good for me once it's full. And like I said, I'm going against my 6 clients per day. But I also have, 5 days in between the next time I work. So there's positives to that.
Yeah. And I'm learning that, and this may be because I work with kids, but I'm learning that it depends on the clients too.
Yes.
Like I do have, like if I was working with junior high up, I think I could probably take on more.
Mm-hmm.
And then but there are some days where I have some kiddos who just have a lot of energy. And so those days I think, those days I definitely need a lower caseload.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning and I'm able to move people around to make it fit the right way. But, I'm definitely learning. And my Fridays, I have 7 and they're all young, very young, but it was my first day. So I filled that up really fast.
Yeah.
And that day I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
I'm pretty tired, but one day a week it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know if I will actually fill up the 40. I won't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they would let me.
Yeah. I think 40 clients a week is a lot.
Yeah. No, I don't think that, and I'm a 9 to 5. So it's also really hard because my kids are in school.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of difficulty getting some of those afternoons filled up.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And with, by the end of the day, then you're heading to one of your kids' activities and things like that. So you've got some full days ahead of you.
Very rarely am I going home.
Yes. You're like, I'm going to
basketball or volleyball.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. For sure. Do you think that you will stay at the caseload that you're at for the foreseeable future?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm in a pretty sweet spot right now. Like I said, I'm just now moving some to maintenance, which, if you don't know, maintenance is usually twice a week to
twice a month.
Twice a month to once a month. Thank you. It's it's a slow release. And so as I'm doing that, I am going to be needing to bring on some more. But I kind of like my schedule where it is.
Yeah.
There are benefits to going up to 32 through our practice, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah.
It's nice to be in a position where you're kind of like, I can be flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to go in with that mindset of, I have to be flexible because you'll start to, I just remember during internship, this was something that I struggled with, is I started to see clients as hours that I needed. Mm-hmm. And so if a client would cancel, my first thought was like, oh no, I'm losing an hour.
Yes.
And I think that can be valid, but also dangerous territory to be in, where it's like, okay, am I still seeing them as person? Mm-hmm. Like, and that was something definitely talked about in supervision. And even now it's like, are you getting frustrated because when they cancel, you're losing the money that they're bringing in? Things like that. I haven't felt like that yet, but I know that can be like, or now I could see myself being like, great, now I have an hour away from my child that wasn't anticipated, that I could have been home with him, things like that. But definitely something to talk about in supervision, because I think that you can easily fall into that if you're, trying to fill a caseload, and things like that. Or even if your caseload's full, it can be, like I said, sometimes it's a needed relief to be like, oh, good, I have an hour. But sometimes it does get a little frustrating when you have a no-show or a cancellation. And especially the day of cancellation or a no-show.
I haven't had a situation yet where I've gotten frustrated. Because usually if it's a cancellation, there's a good reason. And so the empathy kicks in immediately.
For sure.
And like we talked about, I always have things that I need to get done. So
Yeah.
I can easily fill that time with other things. But yeah, I definitely think that this is something that, it's a learning curve as we go. So tell us a little bit about so you've been at our practice for a week. So how is your caseload starting out? Because you have available 15 hours.
Yes. So right now, a couple of my clients are just doing bi-weekly because work availability, one of them's having to take off some work to get to the session on time, my latest session or whatever. So I think I have 6 clients, but 2 are bi-weekly. Or one of them can literally only take one hour that I have available. So if another client schedules over them, then she has to that's kind of just trying to work through that. So right now I think 6 clients. Yeah. So, and 2 of them this week I have an intake with. So I haven't seen 2 of them.
Do you feel like that's a fast start?
I feel like it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that it takes some time to build a caseload, and I think this sounds bad, but I'm right now is a good time to start because this is the winter is the highest
it's a high
need time. So I feel confident that I'll, hopefully get to on average 12 clients at least shortly. So I am not super worried about it.
Right.
But yeah, I feel good about it. It is, it would be overwhelming to walk into having 15 hours right off the get-go, because then you're doing 15 intakes in a week. You know what I mean? So it is kind of nice to ease into it, especially after my long break, to be okay, I'm, getting back into the groove with things, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to comment on that. I think that the slow start is good. Because especially as you're coming out anytime, if you're coming off a break, you're coming off a vacation, you're coming off of graduation, you go right in with imposter syndrome every time.
Yeah.
And so it's a good slow start into remembering, this is kind of like riding a bike.
Yes.
I've been well equipped and well trained for this position, so I'm going to be okay. But like we talked about last week, you're going to jump some hoops and there's going to be some juggling, but getting that slow start is a good way to get you back into the groove.
So. For sure. Yeah, definitely my sessions that I've had, I've been in my head of oh my word, I'm even found myself, I'm I just asked multiple close-ended questions, which is a big no. You really don't want to do that. And I was Bethany, come on, don't do that. But yeah, just, it's not the end of the world, but I'm in my head about, the things that I'm saying and things like that. And I know that I'm I'll get back into the groove. Just keep telling myself, I have the experience. I made it through grad school. I graduated.
Yes.
They let me do that.
They let me do it.
I passed all the tests. And just getting back into the groove with it of putting my clinical hat back on.
Right.
When I haven't had to for so long, I think is, there's always going to be those doubts in your head of can I do this? But I know that I can. So
don't feel bad about the questions. I had a kiddo tell me yesterday I was annoying because I asked too many questions.
That's always the hard part in intakes too, is I'm the intake is such an interesting process because most of the time, no one's actually going to tell you everything about their life right off the bat. And so you're asking deeply personal questions, and to as a client, I can put myself in their shoes and be I've never met this person, and now they want to know all of my trauma history and all of these deep questions that and then it's almost this, you get to the second session, the client kind of takes the reins, and it's well, where do they want to start? But yeah, that first session's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm well, probably not fun for them, but I'm pounding them with questions, I feel
Yeah, that's been tricky with a few teens where
they
already don't trust you, and you're tell me everything about you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so, and it's just funny with kids, and because if they're not coming in ready to talk to you, especially I would say 5th grade and down, you're asking lots of questions just to try to, what are you feeling? And show me on the chart, where you are. And like, you're just asking so many questions just to get them to engage in the reason they're there instead of playing Legos all the time.
Right.
So, evidently it's annoying.
Yes. So. And with kiddos, it takes just a lot longer to get into the, I guess, more working stage because you're building trust and especially with teens too, you're building trust and you're building rapport with them and all of the things, and it just takes a little longer. And a lot of times they don't even know how to. I mean, there's even adults that don't know how to express their emotions and things like that.
Oh, for sure.
The feelings wheel gets pulled out a lot in my office, even with adults. So
I have learned that you want to build trust quickly with teens. The meeting them on their level looks very different.
Yes.
It's knowing how to speak their language, which would be like slay.
Gen Z language.
Yeah, their language. Learning that is helpful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sometimes, my sister, well, okay, technically I'm like technically in Gen Z, which is not, so if you're watching video, you'll see Abby's face right now. She's astounded.
Well, because I'm Gen X.
I don't identify with Gen Z. Me and my college roommate, we always used to say we're like Zillennials because we're right in that in-between, of millennial and Gen Z. And my sister's Gen Z, and I'm like, we are not the same. Like, her Gen Z and me are very different. She's
probably more closer to Alpha.
Yeah.
But this is weird. I don't like this. Can we not talk about this anymore?
Yes, we're done with that. Okay. Next topic for Abby's sake and sanity.
Okay, so you said that you wanted to talk about, what did you say you wanted to talk about? It was, what our schedules look like now. We already did.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, too, I think that your schedule can change depending on what season of life you're in.
100%.
Like I said, right now, new mom, I built my schedule out so that it works for me, but in the future that might change and how I work things out. And just for any of our listeners that are thinking like, oh, I'm in a different, stage of life or things like that, like your caseload it's okay to change it depending on what stage of life you're in and what it needs to look like, and things like that.
Right. Client care is important. The continuity, how do you say it?
Continuity?
Yeah, of care. I can't say the word. It's like continuity. Anyway, continuing care is very important. That being said, our lives matter also. And so we need to make sure that we are doing what's right for ourselves and our families. And so it's okay to lessen your load when you need to.
For sure.
I've been thinking a lot about what my summer will look like having 2 kids at home. And they're both just so involved in different activities and school clubs and things like that, that I'm going to probably have to lessen my load quite a bit in the summer.
Yeah.
Not that I won't work at all, but, I will definitely have to reevaluate what that will look like this summer for us. And to do that without a guilty conscience.
Yes. Okay, I saw this post that someone was like, it was probably an Instagram reel or something, but I'm a chronic comment reader.
Okay.
I like every video. Sometimes I don't even watch the video. I'm just straight to the comments, which
that's weird.
Yeah, Ben makes fun of me for it. And then the video will play over and over as I'm scrolling. He's like, why are you watching the same video multiple times?
It's annoying.
But I'm reading the comments. Too. So anyway, all that to say, there was a video of someone that was like, why am I low-key like upset with my therapist for going on vacation? And I was like, as a therapist, I'm like, oh, like I do not like that. I know.
We know.
But I'm like, I hate thinking that like one of my clients would be upset with me for going on vacation. And then it, begs the question of like, well, where's the dependence factor there? Like how, things like that. But I was just like, I don't know. I almost was just like, that's crazy that, people would feel that way. But then I also get it because maybe your therapist is the only person that you can really be honest with and talk to in your life. So I totally have empathy for that person. But then like reading the comments, I was just like, oh my word, I feel like, I don't know. I was just like, then, that's going to be in my head when I think about going on vacation or, taking a break or, I don't know, whatever it might be. But
well, and for the client who commented that, guarantee you your therapist was thinking about you while they were on vacation.
For sure. That is so true. Yeah. Like thought about my clients all maternity leave.
You don't walk away from them.
No. And then especially if it's a client that you're going to like have the week that you're on vacation, then you're just like, oh, I hope that they're doing well, you know. Yeah, definitely think about try to, you know, we try to set boundaries, but they're going to be on your mind.
Absolutely. You care about them and you care about their well-being. When we were just on our cruise in December, I definitely thought about my clients and said a few prayers while I was on vacation that they are doing well. And what I do love is when you come back and your clients are they care about you in that personal way just as much. And they're like, how was it?
Yeah.
Did you have a good, like, they care too. So that's nice too, is that it's a mutual respect most of the time. Yeah.
And there were a lot of comments that were like, your therapist deserves a break too. And like, there's no, like, it's both and. It can, you know, it's valid to be like, oh, I'm sad that I don't have a session this week. And it's valid for the therapist to need a vacation.
Yeah.
Like to have a week of time to themselves or so, a week or so, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
I think, it's a heavy job that we have, but it's so worth it
so much.
I love it so much. I tell people were like, how was your first week back? And I was just like, I know it sounds weird, but like, it was almost like a relief
coming home.
Like, to be back in the room. And like, obviously you're hearing people's, you know, really, you know, heavy stories or whatever they're coming in with, but it felt like almost a relief to be focused on something else other than my own life for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, and that just was nice. And to be around coworkers and other adults, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. For me, it kind of feels like coming home. Like, okay, this is where the world is right.
Yeah.
It's doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I just, it might be like, as much as we feel that imposter syndrome all the time, we also have like this accompanying confidence.
Yeah.
That like, and I think that only comes from,
for sure,
you know, doing what you were meant to do. But love it so much.
I love it too. It's so weird because I don't want to be like, it's just fun. It's not fun. It's rewarding. I would say
rewarding.
It's not like, obviously I don't wish for my clients to, you know, it's just rewarding to be able to be, it's an honor to be the person that sits with a client. And sometimes you are the only person that they can talk to in their life. And that is a heavy weight to carry, but it's also, it's just an honor to be trusted with these client stories. And I'll never take that for granted. And I missed it. I missed being back in the room.
Being in that space with someone.
Yeah. Yeah, so, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back. So
we're glad that you're back.
Fill my caseload, because that's what today's episode was all about. So if you guys have any questions about that or comments or anything, drop a comment on any of our, you know, social media platforms, and
comment, like, and subscribe.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Couch Conversations Beyond the Textbook. If today's episode resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone you think can relate. Keep showing up, keep learning, and remember, the best growth doesn't always come from a textbook. See you next time.